Hey guys, how's it going? Kripparrian here. So, I've been playing with Midwinter for last couple of weeks, doing the raiding thing, and yeah, it ended pretty well. We cleared everything on normal pretty easily, most of it with alts as well, and this week, when the heroics came out, we managed to, uh, complete the instance. Everything on heroic died, and, it's more or less of a casual raiding schedule compared to some of the, top guilds. On most days, are rated from about 7:30 to about 2:30 in the morning, and it was pretty difficult for me because I have to get up a little bit earlier, and my schedule was already very tight. But we pulled through, and we did very well. We got I think it's like U.S. fourth, but most importantly, of course, the most prestigious achievement that we obtained was the U.S. Alliance first instance clear on heroic. So, that's just the biggest one. And this is the fight here. I just kind of want to kind of tell you guys what's going on because there's a lot of shit that happens in this fight, but it's like a rinse and repeat fight. I know if you guys want to watch like a super special kill video, I'm sure some of the other guys in Midwinter are going to upload that in the coming days. So, we've been through the fight here a couple minutes already. There's a lot of shit that goes on, and I'll explain the easy stuff and then get to more tricky stuff. So those are the two bosses that just spawned there. Those are the ones that, if their health hits 0, you beat the boss. And the Enrage is pretty tight normally because you gotta do all this random shit in the fight where you kill all the ads non-stop. So you see all these timers as the fight progresses. You see Emperor's Rage. Rages are the easiest ads to kill. They have about 5 million life, and they spawn in groups of 4-ish, I believe. I don't even know, because we don't actually kill them. What we do is we have 4 mages and a couple DKs taking care of just locking them down non-stop so they can't ever move or do anything. And as the fight progresses, the bundle, which is right behind us, as you get a glimpse over there by the diamond in the left corner, just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And if they do that shit perfect, and not too many people die throughout the fight, we're gonna have a pretty good attempt. And second thing is we got these Emperor Strength that I'm DPSing now. These do some AoE damage, and you want to try to get rid of these because these also spawn constantly throughout the fight, but you can't really CC them like the Rages. You have to eliminate them. So we're doing some damage to the strengths, and as you saw a mob there, this is called a Courage. And this Courage mob spawns with like a shield in front of it. So you have to get behind it and kill it. And these, for whatever reason, target like the furthest away target, or maybe just furthest away tank in the room. And they just, gradually make their way there. They are snareable, and I am in charge of snaring them initially, but there's also a rogue on it, so if I see the rogue, I'm not really going to bother. And whenever you kill those mobs, or the strengths, or any mob for that matter, there's these little sparks that pop out that you saw there, and you'll see progressively throughout the fight. When you kill any mob in the fight, there's this spark, and what happens is, if you get close to it, it'll do an AoE nuke for like 800,000. And the way we combat that mechanic is we have certain people popping certain cooldowns for these sparks. So they just like run in and they like body pull and they get within the explosive range and then they blow up. And the trick is, because there's all these odds, there's all this shit going on in the fight, these sparks may pop anywhere from the center of the room where most people are stacked to beside the tank and all that other shit. So you have to kind of coordinate that, and that's another thing that you really can't mess up, because it is a long fight, because it is rinse and repeat and repeat and repeat again. You can't have unfortunate deaths to people slipping up to these things. So that's really what the fight is about. So you got that strength down, it popped a spark. It looks like the tank is going to take that one. There you go. He just jumps in front of it with a personal cooldown, because no class can survive that hit in the current level of gear. Now, as for the two bosses themselves, they share a life total, and you can see that they do that. So the classes that are really strong for this, for the boss damage that are ranged, are like multi-dot classes, like priests and warlocks. However, melee end up doing the most damage, and they do that because once you avoid a bunch of these like rock AoE attacks, they call it the dance, you get like a stacking debuff, and once it reaches a certain amount of stacks, you can nuke the boss for 1,000,000 damage. literally just 1,000,000 damage, just hit them for 1,000,000. So melee end up doing a lot if they dance properly. So you want to have some serious dancers, some serious tanks, and some serious coordination. And the fight is not too bad. There's a lot of details that go into the fight. As you can see, I try to get a snare on the courage before it pops its shield, and we want to try to kill the strength before the courage in most instances, because having 2 strengths on a tank is more threatening than having a courage move another like 10-15 yards. So there's a lot of priority stuff that we've worked out throughout the course of the night, and obviously through the beta. At least the other guys have. I wasn't really with them on the beta. And eventually we got all these small things worked out, and it came together. We waited a little bit longer than normal, but prior to the kill, we were literally like at 14%. And what happened was 4 people disconnected at the exact same time, and it just crumbled. Like all the ads got out of control instantly. It seems easy when everything is done right, but there's so many things that people are working together to accomplish in this fight that makes it very vulnerable to mistakes. As you saw there, the rage has almost got out of control. When that happens, we need to have a DK use an AoE grip ability, and this ability has a 1-minute cooldown. So, slip-ups like that can happen, but if they happen too often, we're done. Once those rages get out of control, there's so many of them, we've not killed them for so long that, if they get loose, we're absolutely going to get destroyed. So what they're doing is, we're having a hunter. The other hunter is doing the frost traps because he's BM. I'm survival for this fight, so if I do the frost trap, it'll root all the mobs, and in some cases that will lead to the death of the Death Knight, which is in the middle of that stack. So we have our BM hunter, Kenny. He's dropping a frost trap so the mobs move slower, and you want them to move slowly towards a ring of frost. And these ring of frost are casted in sequence by the 4 mages, so there's always one up. Now, because there's so many mobs, because there's certain oddities that happen in the game, repeating this process again and again and again, and having the new ad spawn again and again and again, there's room for error within the game. Every now and then, the mob just runs through without getting stunned, and on top of that, you can have player errors. You can have people not casting their ring, a millisecond too late, and a couple mobs get loose, and you have to account for that. But they're taking care of that. It took quite a few attempts, but they're doing it pretty much perfectly at this point later in the night. And when it came to the courages, we started doing a little bit better. We had problems with DPS originally, but slowing them down is really the key. Slowing them down pretty much gives you more time, because when these reach some other tanks in the room, it makes creates a big problem. These mobs, I believe, can stun you. And if they stun the tanks tanking the 2 bosses, the Janzi or Quinzi or whatever the hell they're called, they're not going to be able to dance. So they're going to take a shitload of damage because you're going to get hit by that rock thingy, and they're not going to be able to dish out damage. So with our strategy, we won't really have the problem with Enrage, but with other strategies, Enrage is a big problem. The reason we don't have a problem with Enrage is the way some other guilds have done this fight. In my opinion, less effectively. They end up killing the ads that we're permanently CCing, and because they have so much life, you're wasting a lot of DPS time on those rather than the bosses. Now, when do we get to DPS the bosses? Obviously, the melee gets pretty high DPS time, except for the rogues, who end up switching to the courages, the mobs that spawn with a big shield. The rogues are the ones that switch because they're the ones that have the extra snare. Most snares in the game are 50%, but I believe crippling poison with a shiv from a rogue can go up to 70%. So you're moving at 40%. You're moving 40% slower if you're using that snare compared to another snare on the courages. So the rogues are moving from that, but the rest of the melee is just on there, and they're just doing the DPS all the time. But for the range, the way the fight works is. You can see this strength that spawns after a DPS phase. We have to kill these, then we do a courage, and then another strength spawns, and when we kill that one, I believe, we just sit on the boss for a good minute and a half, and that's when we get the DPS time. And that's pretty much it. You have to just do one of those rotations where you kill a bunch of mobs, I believe it's like 3 times. I think there's even enough time during the Enrage for almost 4, and you can get away with it pretty well. So we got to get that strength down. We're reaching the end here. You can see that the boss's HP is about 18%. Once we get this courage down, I believe we are just burning the boss. You can see some deflects there because I hit it from kind of the side. It's a little bit tricky sometimes, but once these courages go down, we should be good to go. We should be killing the boss here. I'll let you guys enjoy the nerd scream here in a second. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the fight, and we got some more heroic bosses coming in about 2 weeks time, and I'll update you guys with those when the time comes. Have a good one, guys. See you tomorrow.
Ignore everything after the...
My courage is going down in
Come
about
grab the
3
end.
seconds.
Mages still ring.
Going.
Keep bringing, guys. Keep bringing. Call for pawn. I think you might need it.
Okay. Hold damage on bosses now.
Sack me.
Ignore everything except...
Get a point. Shadow Fury that.
Keep tanks up.
Doing it?
CC.
All heals on tank.
Kill boss.
Yeah, I got salute. I'm full of mine almost.
Taunt this one. Taunt this one. 6. I'll get that
I'm
one.
gonna be getting hit hard. I have the debuff.
Taunt.
Is GF
I stun that right.
Rune,
3
get ready to
seconds.
come back here and grab.
Okay, next is GF.
Rune, come back here.
So many mobs over there.
Any double?
I have it. It's up.
Trap down.
I'll be gripping this last set.
I have
Kite
the
the
sack
best you
coming
can
up.
if you're tanking.
Holy shit, I'm standing
Okay,
alive.
fine.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
this
sack
is
you,
all
Sloot.
tanking fit.
Out of this.
Him and Hope's going up.
It's all cooldown.
All personals. Hellstones. Focus. Let's get a
shit.
punch, Dignum.
Keep the ring.
Cut shit.
Just get a punch.
2 fucking %. Kill boss.
Dan's coming.
Courage down.
Punt, Dignum. Punt.
Dancing.
Kill boss.
6,
Kill
get
boss.
ready to
Kill
grip.
boss.
Nice.
Come on!
My game just like froze.
Unbelievable.
Holy shit.
Everyone gets
we did it
5,000
first.
gold. GG.
First. Good work.
See if there's a bow on that one.
Oh my god.
Dude, Chris
No bow.
and Careless, I'm gonna
Cool.
suck your dick. Come here.
No bow.